Yeah, so, essentially this is my first day off in weeks, if not months. We did the virtual jazz workshop, which was a lot of fun, but a lot of work to put together. And then we did this virtual streaming residency with my quartet, which there was so much happening on the production side of things. So, yeah, at this point I'm just really drained. I know I should practice. I should play a little bit, but I'm just really burnt out, and I don't think there's any way that I'm going to do some practicing today. All right, so it's been literally 2 weeks since I've played the saxophone. I don't think I've ever gone that long without practicing whatsoever. So I'm about to do a masterclass for San Francisco Conservatory, and there's a bunch of remote recording stuff that I've got to do. So I've got to do a bunch of solo features for projects that people have gotten me on, and so I've got to practice a little bit before I jump into this stuff. And so with all this in mind, I thought it could be great to talk about motivation in your practicing today. Getting motivated to practice, staying motivated to practice, so you can continue developing at a really good rate, because I know a lot of times people will feel like they're stagnating. And we've actually been getting asked the question a lot more recently. We've been getting asked questions about how to be motivated, how to stay motivated, how to get motivated. So I thought it could be great to talk about a few tricks that I always use to keep myself on track. Let's go over those today, because over the past couple weeks, I got off course, and that doesn't usually happen. I went a couple weeks without playing. And so let's go through what happened, and let's talk about some tricks to keep yourself motivated. And I'm going to remind myself here about the best ways that you can keep yourself motivated and keep yourself practicing, so you can keep on developing and improving at the most rapid rate possible. So first, let's see what went wrong over these first few days of me not practicing for 2 weeks straight. Yeah, I don't want to just run away from my problems here, but I don't know. I'm just so drained. I think I'm just going to go for a drive, and I don't even want to think about saxophone at this point. I'm just going to leave it home.
Do you have any hobbies?
It's funny. People ask me that a lot in interviews. One of the first questions is always what else do you do other than music? I don't know. The reality is, I don't really. I probably should. I used to play chess when I was a kid, so, I gave that a try. I started trying to play a bit again, but I don't have any friends, really, so I just ended up playing myself. Either way, I don't think there's any way I'm going to practice at this point. It's day 3. I'm not feeling it. Yeah, I've always felt like my jazz history knowledge is kind of lacking, so I thought today, maybe I would try to read up a little bit more, learn a little bit more about the history. I thought maybe I would feel inspired by that, but just didn't really do anything for me. Yeah, I haven't played at a jazz club in over a year now, so I don't know. I thought maybe at this point, it's day 5. I'm not feeling inspired at all. Maybe I just need to get back in the mood of things, so I don't know, I figured, maybe I'd smoke a cigar, drink a little whiskey. Thought maybe it would put me in the mood to play, but I don't know, still not feeling it. So as you can see, at this point in the week, I'm starting to fall into a rut with my practicing. So let's talk about that first. How can we avoid that? Usually the main thing that's going to hold you back is not having a practice plan. And I don't mean a practice routine. I mean a plan for the month. What you're going to practice throughout that month. What topics you're going to practice. What type of categories you're going to be practicing. And how you're going to get better and how you're going to improve throughout that month. So that's what I mean by a plan. You're going to want a practice plan that's well balanced, so you can address various elements of your musicianship and development. So you don't want to just practice scales for the whole month, and you don't want to just practice playing on one song, going on one song aimlessly, hoping that you're just going to magically get better from that process. So what I do is every month I essentially assign myself 3 or 4 things. That way I have enough variation in my practice sessions to keep myself interested. And that also makes it so I'm improving a variety of skills and not just getting stuck on one element of my playing and development. So one thing that I actually do with the members of my text lesson studio is I actually make a practice plan and a set of monthly assignments for them each month. And so this actually brings up another point. So look, if you don't have a mentor or if you don't have someone coaching you and guiding you through your practicing and development, it's going to be really hard to stay on task, and it's going to be really hard to avoid just falling into a rut and stagnating in your development. Staying motivated in your practicing is really a day-to-day thing, making sure that you just knock out a little bit of practicing each day and consistently get better. And so one of the reasons why we started this subscription model for my teaching is through this system, instead of just working with a teacher once a week or once a month, you can actually text me anytime. That way we're having a consistent dialogue throughout the month, and then we can be in touch as much as you want, so we can make sure that you're developing on your current set of assignments. And so we can work through any issues you're having. If you're having problems with articulation or how to phrase a certain passage or how to pick up something by ear or understand a standard. So for instance, one of the studio members, he's a great alto saxophonist. His name is Gary. And he asked me about All the Things You Are recently. He wanted to understand it better as far as the harmonic analysis goes, so he could just understand how the tune works more. Now, this sort of thing is going to be hard to understand for a lot of more developing players, but this is something that I've gotten into with a lot of the text lessons members because it will help you develop a system to understand standards a lot better. And it's also going to develop your ears. When you give labels for things and have systems for things as far as the numbers and how it all works, then you're going to actually have labels for how the harmony works. You're going to have labels for these little sets of chord changes that put together are like puzzle pieces to build the full standard. So again, some of you might want to ask more basic questions, and that's totally cool. I love working with all the students, no matter what level they're at. But let's check out how I helped Gary with this harmonic system on All the Things You Are. So Gary sent me a video asking about this, and you're always welcome to ask a video if it's easier for you to just film a little clip and show me how your embouchure is or show me how you're sounding on something. And so my response to Gary was this. I said, hey Gary, great question, man. This is a beast of a tune harmonically. Here's how I'd think of it, and I've attached a screenshot with the analysis from the standard analysis PDF in E flat for alto saxophone key. And I said, you're right on the fact that measure 5 through 7 and measure 13 through 15 are the same, just in a different key. That was something that he asked about in the video. And in fact, I said, the whole first 8 measures are the same as the next 8 measures. So measure 9 through 16 are the same as the first 8 measures, just in a different key. So this tune actually starts on the 6 minor, then does a 2-5-1 from there. So that progression is how a bunch of tunes start. Like for instance, Fly Me to the Moon, for instance. So Fly Me to the Moon and All the Things You Are actually start with the same type of progression. But what's different about All the Things is it does this modulation in the last 3 bars of the phrase, measures 6 through 8, and the same thing in measures 14 through 16. So it does this modulation that takes it to a different key. In that modulation, it goes up a major third in tonality. So F major changes to A major in measure 6, and then in the next 8 measures, C major goes up to E major in measure 14. So a lot of tunes go up a major third in tonality, like for instance, If I Were a Bell and Star Eyes. All these things connect together really. So All the Things is just unique in that it does this whole set of harmonic devices in 2 different keys, the first 8 measures, and then again in a different key from measure 9 to 16, like I mentioned earlier. All to say this tune is very complex harmonically, but I hope this all made sense, and let me know if you have any more questions. So then from there, I also gave Gary some material to work on just playing through the tune. Again, this is sort of to help you have a system for it so you can understand how the chord changes work, and so you can understand how all these standards kind of tie together and start developing aural associations of how this stuff sounds. It's gonna make you memorize chords way faster. So obviously Gary's a very advanced player asking questions like this, but I'm here for you, whether you want to ask me about just articulation or just how to play on a basic dominant chord and some nice phrases to work on and stuff like that. Whatever you want to ask, I'm here for you. And I love this subscription program because we can just have a dialogue throughout the month. You can text me anytime and we can just talk day to day about whatever you're thinking about, whatever you are maybe getting stuck on, and I can help you get some clarity and always make sure you're moving forward. So with that in mind, the studio has actually been at capacity for a long time now. But for the first time this year, we're actually opening it up. And so I'm totally game to work with any of you guys directly if you want to have guidance like this in your practicing. Typically, the studio fills up really fast. So if you're watching this and it's already closed again, just make sure to sign up for the wait list and we'll try to get you in as soon as we can. I honestly feel like this program is a game changer if you want this type of guidance. And so it's been really great to get positive feedback from the studio members. We got a couple of really great testimonials recently that I just wanted to share with you. So Everett Young here said, "Dude, your text lessons are really brilliant and solve a particular problem elegantly. It's the best music education value that I've ever seen. How do you get real, substantive interaction, coaching, and support from an amazing player at a price that makes it possible for anybody without enrolling at North Texas or someplace like that? I really love this model. You've put together something so innovative here." And also, we have a bunch of non-saxophonists in the studio, so I just wanted to share this feedback, this testimonial from Sam Carlos, who's a great trumpet player. Sam said, "The Text Lesson Studio has been an amazing resource for guiding my jazz technique and musicianship in general. I want to make a specific encouragement here for brass players who might feel skeptical of receiving lessons from a saxophonist. The exercises improved my lip flexibility, dexterity, range, endurance, and ear in ways that my trumpet-focused studies alone did not." So again, if you want this consistent guidance, I've got you covered, and I'll make sure to keep you on track better than I kept myself on track over the past couple weeks. Because when you get past a few days without practicing, that's typically when things start to get a little out of control. With that in mind, let's check out what happened after a week of not practicing, and let's talk about some tricks to avoid these issues. Nintendo Switch, saxophone, switch, saxophone, switch, saxophone. Yeah, switch. Yo, my smash scales are about to be off the hook. Yeah, at this point, I haven't practiced for a week. And I guess I just feel like I'm losing a sense of purpose. Why are we here? What's the point of it all? Who am I? What is saxophone? You know, a lot of people say when you're not feeling inspired, you should just listen to the records. I don't know. I mean, sometimes I listen to my heroes and it's just like, how will I ever be that kid? Why do I even try? It's supposed to be inspiring, but I just end up feeling like I can never do that. I've gone 9 days without practicing saxophone. I mean, at this point, I'm thinking maybe I should just give up. All right, simple but profound issues here. So look, if there's something that you really want to do, like play video games or something like that, that's totally cool. You should totally do it, but make it a reward. So make it a reward for the end of your practicing. Just do 15 or 20 minutes of practicing first and then hit the video games after. And on that note, practicing should be fun too, just like video games. So if you're not having fun with practicing, you should probably be practicing other stuff or going about your practicing in a different way. For me, I love practicing what I like to call improv games. That's when you essentially give yourself different sets of challenges that you improvise with. Essentially, when you're practicing improvising, you shouldn't just be going about it aimlessly. You should be giving yourself games and challenges. And so that's essentially what my new soloing techniques masterclass is about. We made that fully interactive so you can actually play with me and my quartet. You can play with me, you can play back and forth with me. We made that fully interactive so it's gonna be a lot more fun and it's gonna be a better way of keeping yourself engaged when you're practicing. If you do wanna check that out, you can use a coupon code CLB10 this week. That will get you $10 off that masterclass or any masterclass that's at the jazzlessonvideos.com website. Now you saw on day 8, I was getting down on myself because I was listening to records and I was having that feeling that I know so many people feel, which is just How could I ever sound that good when you're listening to one of your idols or one of your heroes? But this is just a crappy mindset, because as soon as you tell yourself that you can't sound that good, that's when you limit yourself and you won't be able to sound that good. You have to remember that all of your heroes had off days. All of your heroes had days where they felt discouraged and they felt like, how could I ever do this? That can be a slippery slope when you get into that negative mindset. As you saw in the days that followed, I started getting really dark and I just wanted to give up on playing altogether, which happens to the best of us. So you have to be patient and forgiving with yourself. We all have bad days, and you just have to know that it will pass. So with that in mind, what happens when you have a good day? You start to get inspired, but you still aren't able to get in a good practice session. All right, I hit rock bottom. I'm ready to do this again. I'm starting to feel inspired. So, today I'm gonna make a list. It's been 10 days, gotta play again. I'm gonna make a list of things that I'm gonna do. So, I'm gonna practice like giant steps in all 12 keys. I'm gonna learn like 3 new Coltrane solos. I'm gonna start to write for symphony orchestra. I've always wanted to do that. I'm gonna learn like 10 standards. I'm gonna play so many pentatonic riffs. I'm just gonna, yeah, there's no way I'm gonna get through all this. Yeah, so I got the horn out today. I made sure not to overwhelm myself or anything like yesterday. But I couldn't get off my phone. Yeah, today I finally did it. Day 12, I practiced, felt great. I just told myself, you know what? I'm just gonna do 15 minutes. I got up in the morning, I drank a little espresso, and I said, I'm just gonna get off my phone, I'm gonna focus, and I'm just gonna give it 15 minutes, just practice a little bit. I don't need to change the world today. So I got out my horn and felt great, had fun. All right, so what happened there? On day 10, I got really excited, but I completely overwhelmed myself with these lofty practicing goals. I set all these unrealistic expectations for a single day of practicing, and it got to the point where I overwhelmed myself and I didn't even want to practice at all. I can't tell you how many times I've heard someone say that they want to do all these things in one day, and it's just not feasible at all. It's great to be optimistic, so don't lose that quality. But you also want to be realistic, and you want to pace yourself in a way that's manageable. So when you're setting your goals for the day, just take it one step at a time. Don't think about everything you want to do for the whole day. Just think about what you want to do for the first 15 minutes. And then think about what you want to do for the next 15 minutes. Once I put my phone away and just told myself all I'm going to do is practice for 15 minutes, I just told myself that the next 15 minutes are going to be productive, and that's all I thought about. That's when I finally got the horn out and started getting stuff done. And with that in mind, you have to remember one important thing. You don't have to practice forever. Once you get to a certain level with your playing, your skills and musicianship get strong enough that they actually become really stable. So once you get really competent as an improviser, you will not lose those skills overnight. For instance, if LeBron James went 2 weeks without practicing, he would probably still be better than this. And for instance, I'd like to think if I take a couple weeks off of playing saxophone, I'll still be pretty good. So don't worry, you don't have to play every day forever to get to the level you want. Just focus now. Focus on what you want to do for the next 15 minutes. Keep that cycle going, and as a few days go by and as a few weeks go by, you're going to start to develop some skills that are going to start to settle in and become a lot more stable. So remember, when you want to get motivated, don't get motivated for the day or the week or the month. Get motivated just for the next 15 minutes. Map out a plan for the whole month, but just take it one step at a time. Take it 15 minutes at a time, get your horn out, and just play for 15 or 20 minutes and just do one thing at a time. That's how you're gonna stay motivated, and that's how you're gonna stay inspired. Thanks for watching, guys. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't already and hit that bell so you'll get notifications when I do a new release. If you haven't already, leave a comment in the comment section below and let me know what you want me to cover next, and I'll see you guys next time.